Data enable personalization and efficiency. Point 3, it promotes fairness and inclusivity. And now we have reviewed these arguments. Does anyone have questions for Group 1? Please feel free to ask.
To guarantee fairness, privacy, and as other kind of factors, as you are developers, right?
Thank you for your question. So I'm Hương and I'm from the AI developers group. So you asked that what specific algorithmic techniques that we use to safeguard users' privacy, right? So we actually have several advanced security protocols to safeguard users' data here. So what do you mean by that? When we collect user data, it doesn't mean that we automatically draw the rules of data handling premises out the window. There are actually several steps, which I will name some of them here. So the first one is that our users' data, once collected, will be encrypted in transit and at rest. What do we mean by transits and at rest here? So transit means information transferred over networks, and at rest means information stored in data sets. What does that mean? So that means that even if unauthorized parties like hackers, right, gain access to this information, they cannot and they would not be able to read it at all because they lack decryption keys, which only authorized personnel like us hold. And the access to these data are also very controlled and limited, only available to us AI developers. So the next step is anonymization and aggregation of data. So when we collect the data, we will strip all identifiable information, and we make sure that even if individual user actions contribute to AI's learning, no personal identities associated with this info will be found. And that means that user data cannot be traced back to any specific individual. We also incorporate several techniques, including federated learning, differential privacy, which means that we add noise to the data sets. So when our AI model gains insights to the data that we have collected, we don't expose, and that AI system doesn't expose user privacy here. We also use data retention and data minimization. That means that when the data is used for specific purposes, it will then be securely deleted and no personal information will be leaked.
I want to answer questions as well. We give the user the right to select what they want to share and what they don't. Let's take an example of ChatGPT. This users can choose to delete history at any time you want. They have a history bar when you can choose what is safe and what is not. And in the paid version, we have the option to no training option, which means it will not take your data for training models purposes. Thank you.
User, whenever I open a website, I often see a really long consent page, which require a lot of time to read. So what are ways to ensure that your policies are transparent, not vague, and are really clear at the same time, but also ensure that our benefits are ensured?
Well, after hearing your presentation, I just wonder whether data collection will help AI reduce the bias or actually foster the bias of users. For example, I know that AI will give personalized experience, so it is very likely that it will make the contents that we like to see to appear more often on our screen, not the contents that are of the truth. For example, I used to click on an advertisement saying that a type of cosmetic product is of high quality, and many similar contents then after that appear on my screen, and I kept thinking that this is the truth. But after a long time using that type of cosmetic product, I ended up realizing that it's not that safe and good, because there is a newspaper saying that it actually has contains the harmful substances. So I'm really wondering about the truth of such content.
So, as you mentioned, your first point is that data collection helps AI developers to refine and train models. And I want to ask that if the case is true, do you think that you are taking advantage of users without their permission? And imagine if they don't permit, won't there be any other effective practices to develop your programs? As your first point mentioned, data collection helps AI developers to refine and train models. So I want to ask that if the case is true, do you think that you are taking advantage of users without their permissions? And in the case that they don't permit, won't there be any other effective practice to develop your programs?
From the government, I want to ask you, what challenges do you face when you implement these data collection regulations so that we can offer assistance? Do you need to repeat the question? Okay, so as a member of the government, I want to ask you, what challenges do you face when implementing data collection regulations so that we can help you?
I'll answer the questions of Chang and Lê-Linh at the same time. It is a combination of your three questions. For Lê-Linh, you asked that we use users' data without their permission. But in fact, in the terms of policy, which you tick when you sign up in any platforms, you tick in that box so that you agree to our terms of policy, so that we use your data in your permission. And you think that our terms of policy is vague and not clear, and that is the problem of users. They don't usually read the terms of policy carefully. They just, it's the term of policy, you just tick that. But in fact, if you really take time to read, you will realize that we all mention all our terms in the policies. So that I think it's the problem lies in users, in their ability to read our policies, and your privacy will be ensured if you really,
Well, another point in Ling questions, the enhancements that we made with the users' data benefits them directly. So yeah, I think it's really beneficial, and yes, we do ask for permission. And besides collecting data, yes, we do have other ways to improve our models, but it will be not as effective as collecting data. So that's why we are supporting collecting users' data, so that we can improve our platforms and your experiences. Lynn has she sees some targeted advertisement, right?
Well, I wonder if the data.
We treat your information is not a commodity. It's safeguarded, and it is safeguarded and respected, and we will not engage in any form of data monetizing or tracking activities. We will not. Your data is not using for advertising, marketing, or targeted advertisement. So we just use your information solely for
or to enhance your experience and to train our models.
Okay. Answer the question possibly because I am responsible for the point that AI will help the users have more personalized experience when using. You say that the data we collected from users not help them to have a more personalized, but in fact they can even make them have biased content, which they don't have no chance to discover new information. However, I would say that their interest that we can collect from the history, their browsing history, we can use that to make a list of contents that fits and tailor to their interest. However, we also still have another section for them to discover new things. So we can make sure that everything they want not only presented on the screen, but also they will have another chance to discover new things, not only to the contents that fits their interest. Thank you.
So, thank you very much for AI developers. And now let's turn our